Hello to all the patriots out there, and welcome to the Flick and the Frame. We're getting ready for Captain America 4, subtitle Brave New Bird over here, and I thought, why don't we do a thought bubbles on my favorite Marvel superhero, Captain America.
That's a lie. That's a stone cold lie.
No. Specifically, the Bucky Barnes version of Captain America. His comic run, written by Ed Brubaker with art by Steve Epting, is chef's kiss. It's a great comic run. Highly recommend it. But we're not going to be covering anything nearly as good today. We're going to be looking at Captain America issues number 218 to 221 from 1978.
That's the year that I was born.
Yeah. You look great, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've been doing a new skincare routine.
Right. So by this point, most people know like the basic origin of Captain America. He was a little scrawny fella. He got real big. He did war, and then he turned into a popsicle. Perhaps like a bomb pop or something, you know.
I like bomb pop.
Yeah, it's
like
good.
the red, white, and blue one. That's really
Maybe he's
good.
one of those Captain America popsicles with the eyes
With the eye all messed
melting
up.
slowly. But did you know that Captain America actually had secret adventures after going down in World War II, but before surfacing in the modern day?
So you're saying that there is a period of time where he was unfrozen.
Yes.
Did some shenanigans and
Yes.
then got refroze.
Yes.
Ryan.
I told Ty before we started recording this, he was going to hate this one.
Ryan. So this isn't even like alternate universe stuff. This is mainline Cap. This is canon?
This was retconned later on.
Okay, thank God.
But for a long time, this was a canon thing that happened. All right, so our story opens up, and for the last few issues of the series, Cap has been having problems remembering details of his past. It's really ruffling his feathers. You know, those little feathers on the side of
his little Hermes wings.
Yeah. And he's hanging out at Avengers Mansion, and Iron Man rolls in, and he's like, well, time to do some routine maintenance on the Avengers submarine, which we always use.
Of course.
It's the same submarine that the Avengers used when they found Captain America frozen in ice. The mere mention of the submarine sets Cap off, and he's like, all right, I need to investigate this sub. He thinks it might reveal a connection to his past.
Okay.
So him and Iron Man, they head down there, and Cap starts investigating to kind of trigger his lost memories. Cap spots a tape recorder in the sub, and apparently the Avengers record all audio on the sub, which I find weird. Like, did they get Cap out of the ice and they were like, hey, welcome back. Before you speak, can you sign this NDA?
I'm not angry at it.
It's continuing the plot.
Those exist. Those
Okay.
are real.
All right. But anyways, Cap plays back the tapes, and he hears himself on the recording from right after he got out of suspended animation. And he says that he struck the waters of Newfoundland before going into suspended animation. Is that how you say that?
Suspended animation?
No, Newfoundland.
Newfoundland? Yeah.
Okay.
The Newfies.
I hate that name.
Newfies?
No,
Just
Newfoundland.
Newfoundland. Well, it's
Both, actually.
Ryan hates people from Newfoundland.
I'm saying it right now. Let it be known. If you are from Newfoundland, get out of here. But anyways, Cap plays back the tapes, and he hears himself on the recording from right after he got out of suspended animation. And Cap's like, now wait just a damn minute. And he remembers going down in World War II in the English Channel. But as it turns out, he was found off the coast of Newfoundland. And the editor is like, it's not a continuity error. Look it up.
It's like,
Yeah.
I promise.
Cap's like, hey, the editor's right. So he flies to Newfoundland, and he jumps out of the plane without a parachute. Classic Captain America. Instead, actually,
What is that?
he has these big, bubbly descent bags that lower him down like a little feather.
I hate it.
Very cool, I think. He quickly changes into his civilian identity, and he goes sniffing around for clues. So he's going around Newfoundland. He's kind of like looking for things to kind of trigger his lost memories. And eventually his tummy gets all rumbly, and he decides to break for dinner at Red Lobster.
There's some Cheddar Bay biscuits, baby.
So he's having dinner at Red Lobster, and outside he sees some strangely dressed men moving boxes. And he's like, oh yeah, those guys are definitely going to lead me to uncover the secrets of my past. No doubt about it. So he goes in an alley, and he changes back into his Captain America uniform. And all of a sudden he's got his shield back too, which I'm like, where were you keeping that?
Where did he leave the shield?
Yeah, like, did he just like put it down in an alley? And he's like, this will be fine here. So he catches up up with the strange men at the docks, and he discovers a secret passageway. He follows them down, and he gets spotted right away, which makes sense because Cap is not built for stealth.
No, he stands out.
So the guys jump him, and Cap starts beating up on him. There's a skung here and laugh there.
And a kablong. Don't forget about the kablong.
A couple kablongs.
Ooh, click.
Yeah.
Yo, the onomatopoeia going crazy in this one.
He takes most of them out. So the biggest thug of the gang, he shows up all threatening and whatnot.
Whoa, he's fighting the strongest man in the whole province.
Is that what he says?
Yeah, that's Scott Pilgrim, the strongest person in his whole province.
I guess so. And what does Cap do? One punch down.
Punch.
He has this little moment where it's like very Looney Tunes and all of his teeth fall out.
Yeah.
So after dealing with those guys, Cap hears the familiar voice of an old foe, famous comic book villain, General Lyle Decker.
Old white man.
Decker tells Cap that he's been waiting and plotting for his return for over 3 decades and reveals his scheme to take revenge on Cap, a 12-foot tall Captain America android. So Cap and Decker, they're staring at the Captain America android, and Cap is speechless, but something still isn't quite adding up for him. And Decker's like, "Allow me to jog your memory."
Is the thing that's not adding up how one man's collar can be so high? It's so...
That's very 70s.
Oh my gosh.
So Cap flashes back to 1944, a full year before he gets frozen in the ice. And the flashback is of him and Bucky, and they're peeling potatoes, I guess, as some sort of weird punishment because their commanding officer just doesn't like them. I don't know.
That's how I punish my children.
Yeah. But his CO pulls up and he's like, "Rogers!" He's like, "I don't like you, and we're in the middle of a war, but right now you're being shipped off to Hollywood for a vacation.
And you better get me pictures of Spider-Man."
Cap and Bucky, they fly over to Hollywood, and turns out they're being sent to a movie studio where they're filming the latest Captain America propaganda film. They're being sent there to investigate a possible Nazi sabotage. While there, they meet a younger Lyle Decker, who's working on the special effects for the latest Captain America movie, and he seems like a nice man. Later, Cap and Bucky, they're watching the crew film a scene for the movie, and Cap's stunt double gets injured during filming because somebody loaded actual bullets into a machine gun.
Naturally.
Yeah. And Cap ends up saving the day, as he would. His stunt double is being taken off in a stretcher, and he's like, "Oh, the show must go on. We gotta sell war bonds."
Art is a battlefield, man.
He's like, "You gotta do this not for me, Cap, but for America."
For America. My shoulder.
And Cap's like, "Goddamn, what a patriot."
What a hero.
He's like, "I'll do it." And he fills in for his stunt double for the rest of the movie. Filming resumes. It's going well. Meanwhile, Decker, he contacts Red Skull, and he's like, "All right, I fucked up." And Red Skull's like, "Ooh."
I can't stand Red Skull's prominent brow bones. Like, look at them puppies.
It just makes him look really angry.
It makes him look like a Planet of the Apes extra.
Oh, yeah. I
Like,
see that, yeah. Put a little bit of fur around
Yeah,
him.
just a little bit of fuzz.
Yeah. And Decker's like, "Oh, but don't worry. I've been preparing a new trap. And this will not only stop the propaganda film, but also stop the real Captain America."
Oh.
Yeah. And Red Skull's like, "Good, because if there's one thing I hate more than Captain America films, it's Captain America."
Honestly, me too.
Yeah, makes sense. Decker's new plan to sabotage the film is to use a real laser to cut the leading lady in half.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Little James Bond. Yeah.
Little James Bond?
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
So Cap and Bucky, they figure out what's going on, and they stop the laser, and they're like, "Hey, that's the second time a special effect has nearly killed someone. And there's only one guy around here who does special effects." And immediately Decker's like, "Yeah, you got me. But stand back or I'll shoot this kid."
I'll shoot Bucky. I'll brain this kid. You listen here, Decker. You leave my boy servant alone.
He takes Bucky as a hostage, and he runs off. Cap chases him down on a motorcycle and ends up running Decker's getaway vehicle off a cliff into some water. Decker then kind of like vanishes. Back in the present, Cap's like, "Yeah, I remember all that. Peeling potatoes, Hollywood, I get it. But you still aren't telling me how I ended up in Newfoundland." And Decker's like, "Oh, don't worry. I have more exposition and flashbacks right after I zap you with his laser." And Cap's out.
Oh, okay.
So he wakes up and Decker's got him strapped to some sort of like weird energy draining device. And he's like, all right, now I'm going to continue my flashback. So it turns out Decker actually survived the car running off the cliff, and he was picked up by Red Skull and his submarine. A lot of submarines in the story.
2 different submarines. Yeah. That one's got some nasty imagery on it. Couldn't even like do the Hydra logo to at least like pretend like they weren't throwing it in there. Just gonna, okay.
Yeah, he's picked up by Red Skull, and Red Skull's pissed. He's like, you really fucked up this time, Decker.
Dude, he's steaming red.
Yeah, he's mad. So what does he do? He decides to torture him.
Naturally, as you do.
And after he's had enough, they shoot Decker out of the sub like a fucking torpedo.
Okay. He's dead. He's dead. He's a dead man. The pressure would kill him.
Well, Decker survives.
Of course
and
he does.
He's picked up by some fishermen and is taken back to Newfoundland, where he begins to plot his revenge. Then we reveal that shortly after Cap went down in 1945, Decker and his new crew of henchmen that he had amassed went over to the English Channel, where Cap fell in the water, and brought him back to Newfoundland. So he captures Cap, brings him back to his base, and this is where Decker tells him about his revenge scheme.
So you're telling me that this guy went and exhumed Captain America's frozen body from the English Channel?
Yes.
Okay, whatever. Hate it.
This is where Decker starts to tell him about his whole big revenge scheme. And man, this guy, he just loves his villain monologues, doesn't he?
He's a nefarious little guy.
Very nefarious.
Look at his little mustache.
So his current plan is he tells Cap that he wants to use this device to transfer Captain America's strength into his own body. And Cap's like, not on my watch. So Cap's not about that. And he beats up everyone there and escapes in a plane. But Decker is prepared. He shoots down Cap's plane, ends up crashing into the waters off the coast of Newfoundland, and he's suspended in animation yet again.
What was the purpose of any of this? For what? It doesn't, there's no like even like lore, like greater lore that expands further. Like there's no like, oh, something crazy happened. He just talks to a German dude.
Yeah. He's out of the water for like less than a day.
This is awful.
So yeah, he gets suspended in animation yet again. Great plan, by the way, Cap. Really, really good stuff. So we then return to the present, and Decker's like, all right, now that you have your memory back, I must take my double revenge on you. But this time, instead of transferring Cap's power into himself, Decker plans on transferring it into the robot and then transferring his consciousness into the robot. Complicated enough, his scheme?
Honestly, like, it's pretty straightforward, like what he wants to do.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It's just dumb.
So he ends up transferring his consciousness into the Ameridroid, and his body is just left sitting like a sack of potatoes. But now he can officially take over the world, or at the very least, Newfoundland. So now that Decker is in the Ameridroid, he's like, all right, now I'm going to enact my plan to take over the world. Now that I'm in this big Captain America robot, Cap ends up escaping his lair, and he gets into a big tussle with the Ameridroid. He puts up a good fight, but it turns out he's no match for the Ameridroid after having his strength drain, and the Ameridroid also having like an additional 6 feet on him.
Right.
Yeah. So how's Captain America going to get out of this? You might be wondering.
Perhaps.
Decker begins gloating, and then he comes to the realization that he's given up his humanity. He then points out a really tall guy in the crowd and demands to compare heights with the man.
That is a tall man.
So him and this very tall Canadian man, they compare heights. This is where he fully realizes that he's now a freakishly tall robot person, and he has a complete meltdown.
Because he's tall?
Well, I think the main reason he's mad is because he didn't build a functioning penis onto the robot. Like he says, like, I'll never be able to feel like the tender, warm touch of a woman ever again. Yeah.
Oh, he's so real for that.
He's very upset that he didn't make a dick for his Captain America
I'm
robot.
Too large for living. God, he's so relatable for that one.
So these realizations, they send him into a blind rage, and he ends up completely wrecking his old lifeless body, and he has a big cry about it.
Okay, well, not a big cry because he's a robot and he can't cry because he's a freak. What? What's he leaking?
So he's actually shedding tears, which implies that he had enough foresight to include working tear ducts in the robot, but not a functioning penis.
God, the penis would have been the first thing that I made. I would have sculpted the penis before even like making the frame for the robot. Like you want to know what you're working with right off the get. Amateur stuff.
But anyways, Cap, he recovers from their fight and he shows back up and he's like, hey, it's not so bad. maybe look at it as a fresh start, you know?
Yeah, you're just a big Captain America now.
Yeah, now you could begin a new life, but as a giant Captain America robot.
Do you think, are those clothes? Or is he like painted to look like Captain America?
You
think
I don't know.
Because like if he could like wear something else, you know, like take the mask off, he can just be like a big guy.
I think he's just a Captain America robot.
Yeah, like it's the metal and like
It was shaped
to look like Captain.
Yeah.
So he has no choice but to be Captain America.
I mean, you could put, you know, big clothes on top of your 12-foot robot self and try to hide the idea that you're Captain America.
Mask on with a big A on the front.
He really didn't think this through. He's really butthurt about it.
What an idiot.
But yeah, Cap's like, you can start a new life. And Decker's like, yeah, I guess.
Just goes to show you all Nazis are idiots.
The two end up shaking hands. Decker then decides to take some personal time to focus on himself, and he leaves. And Cap's like, man, that was weird. He then goes back home and drinks some spoiled milk from the fridge.
Stinky milk. Oh, it's curdled.
Yeah, it's
right
spoiled
here.
milk.
Okay,
Yeah.
sometimes it seems like I haven't been out of costume since before the cow gave this milk. Ew. Yuck.
And he falls asleep in his armchair. Feeling resolves after solving the mysteries of his past. And that's the end of the adventure.
That shit sucked.
I purposely picked these out because I know you won't like them.
That shit sucked in like other ones we've read on this, like sucked with merit. That one sucked without merit.
I just like how Captain America didn't actually do anything.
He didn't. He got his ass beat.
Like he didn't really discover anything about his past.
No,
he didn't defeat the enemy. Like
there were no implications, like no widespread implications.
Nothing happened.
It was a waste of time. Good Lord.
Yep, I love that. Anyways, thank you for joining us today on another episode of Thought Bubbles. We really appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with us, talking about Captain America. Please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel while you're at it. Did you like this Captain America comic? Did you hate it? Are you going to read it? Let us know. Are there any other really bad Captain America comics that you'd like us to take a look at? We'll look at them.
Probably, yeah. I'd say there are probably a few.
There's a lot, probably, yeah. Leave your recommendations below. Thanks again, everybody. We will see you next time. Ty?
You love me.
I love you. Perfect. Goodbye, everyone. Ow.